Sorry, we stopped there. Now I am continuing with examination of pleural and peritoneal fluid. Accumulation of excess fluid in pleural cavity is called as pleural effusion. Pleura is a covering of the lungs and it has a cavity. And the causes of pleural effusions are two types. One is called as transudate, another is called as exudate. What exactly is transudate and exudate, will come to it later. So right now you know the causes of transudates are congestive cardiac failure, that is heart problems, cirrhosis of liver, hypoproteinemia, pulmonary embolism. Whereas causes of exudates are mainly infections like bacterial pneumonias, tuberculosis, pulmonary infractions, collagen disorders, pancreatitis, and malignancies like bronchogenic carcinoma and carcinomas of the breast. Accumulated pleural fluid may either be a transudate or exudate. Transudate is nothing but it's a non-inflammatory conditions and are due to increase in capillary hydrostatic pressure, that is congestive cardiac failure, portal hypertension, or low oncotic pressure, that is hypoproteinemia. Whereas exudate results from a pure inflammatory condition, that is the infectious conditions, and are due to increased capillary permeability, that is infection or obstruction to pleural lymphatics. So this is the difference between transudate and exudate. Transudate is purely non-inflammatory, exudate is inflammatory. Transudate is bilateral, exudate unilateral. The mechanism is raised hydrostatic pressure or reduced oncotic pressure, whereas in exudate it is increased capillary permeability or lymphatic obstruction. And in appearance, as I told, the gross examination and chemical examination. Gross, chemical, microbiological examination, then the cytological examination. In appearance, the transudate will be clear, whereas exudate is not clear. Specific gravity is less here, exudate specific gravity more. Less protein serum ratio, pleural fluid protein and serum protein ratio, less LDH and less pleural fluid LDH per serum LDH ratio in transudate, whereas everything is high in exudate. Glucose is equivalent to plasma and here it is low. Transudate usually has few cells, and these few cells are few lymphocytes and mesothelial cells, whereas exudates always have inflammatory cells like neutrophils and the eosinophils. Organisms are nil in transudate, whereas exudate organisms are present when you do gram stain and see under the microscope. So examination consists of appearance, chemical count, chemical examination, cell counts, microbiological examination, and cytological examination. If the fluid is in exudate, further investigations are indicated like cell count, estimation of glucose, cytological examination, test for tuberculosis, gram stain, and culture. So this is one schematic representation where when you come to a conclusion whether fluid is transudate or exudate based on the appearance, based on the gross appearance and chemical examination, and in appearance based on the color we have given different types of colors of the pleural fluid and their causes. If the pleural fluid is exudate, if it is purulent, then it is empyema, do gram stain and find out the bacteria. If it is bloody, it is malignancy, then go for cytology and find out what type of cancer it is. If it is milky white, it is called as chylous effusion. Then the triglycerides in the patient will be more. If it is opaque or turbid, it is called as parapneumonic effusion, pancreatic malignancy, or collagen disorder. Go for gram stains, antinuclear antibody assays, and cytological examination. If the exudate is straw colored or serosanguinous, think of tuberculosis and go for Zn stain and fluorescence microscopy. So cell count. If transudate, as I told, cell count will be less than 1000 ml per 1000 cells per ml, and very few cells, that is a small mature lymphocytes are seen. If predominance of neutrophil more than 50% indicate it is an acute process and it is an exudate. Well, predominance of lymphocytes indicate a chronic process like tuberculosis, rheumatoid pleurisy, and malignancy. Very high leukocyte count, that is more than 50,000 per ml with predominance of neutrophil suggests parapneumonic effusion, usually empyema. And presence of many small mature lymphocytes with only a few or no mesothelial cells is suggestive of tuberculosis. Then comes to microbiological examination, go for the gram stains and culture for the particular fluid if it is an exudate. If it has some microorganisms, then go for culture carried out on exudate, especially on purulent, blood stained or cloudy samples. Ziel-Nansen staining is carried out if in less than 20% of the tuberculous pleural effusion show positivity, and in culture less than 40% of the case will be positive. Then comes with cytological examination. Pleural fluid is centrifuged, smears are prepared from the sediment and stained with the Papanicula stain. So Papanicula is a stain for the cytological examination of the smears to identify the cancer, to identify the cell counts. In older age, metastatic malignancy is responsible for majority of pleural effusions. The common malignancies are bronchogenic carcinomas, carcinoma of the breast, and the lymphomas. So this is again one more pleural finding reports in different diseases. Like if a patient has tuberculosis, the appearance of tuberculosis, as the tuberculosis is an exudate, the appearance is little serosanguinous and the cell count is definitely more, that is 5,000 to 10,000, and most common cells are lymphocytes here, as tuberculosis is a chronic inflammation, and the confirmation is by Zealand stain and polymerase chain reaction. Then parapneumonic effusion, empyema, both have little turbid and purulent appearance, both are exudates, both will show high number of neutrophils. Gram stains will help in identifying or coming to a conclusion which type of organism is causing this particular effusion. Then we have malignancy. Of course, malignancy will show bloody appearance of pleural fluid, it is exudates. Malignancy will show lymphocytes and malignant cells, no inflammatory cells, no neutrophils, and cytology will confirm which type of malignancy it is. Then with the congestive cardiac failure, if pleural effusion is due to congestive cardiac failure, the appearance will be clear as it is a transudate and it will not show any type of cells, only few mesothelial cells it shows. Then comes to peritoneal fluid. Peritoneal fluid is again, it is a ultrafiltrate of plasma. It is nothing but it is a cavity. There is an abdominal cavity covering the abdominal cavity, and peritoneal fluid accumulates in the peritoneal cavity. It is a potential space in the abdomen lined by mesothelial cells and normally contain about 30 to 50 ml of serous fluid. The fluid is an ultrafiltrate of plasma and its formation is dependent upon hydrostatic pressure, plasma oncotic pressure and capillary permeability. Pathological accumulation of fluid in peritoneal cavity is called as ascites, and the accumulated fluid is called as ascitic fluid. Again, causes of ascitic fluids are almost same like a pleural fluid. It has both transudate and exudates. Again, in transudate there is increased hydrostatic pressure or plasma oncotic pressure. The causes are like cirrhosis of liver, congestive cardiac failure, hypoproteinemias. Whereas exudates, increased capillary permeability or lymphatic obstruction. We have again inflammatory conditions like bacterial peritonitis, tuberculosis, malignancy, abdominal injury, biliary peritonitis, pancreatitis or chylous ascites. So collection of both peritoneal and the pleural fluid is by the insertion of the needle into the particular cavity. So hollow needle is inserted through the abdominal wall, usually left lower quadrant of abdomen below the border of shifting dullness into the peritoneal cavity, and fluid is removed under aseptic precaution. For cytological examination, the maximum yield of malignant cells, 100 ml of the fluid should be taken out if the fluid collection is more. For cell count, sample is collected in EDTA containing tube. For microbiological culture, sample is inoculated in blood culture bottles at the bedside. So these are the tests. Again we do similar tests what we do for sputum, peritoneal fluid, again gross examination, chemical examination, cell counts, microbiological examinations and the cytological examination. So in cell counts we have WBC cells. This is the most important test as it rapidly provides information about possible bacterial infection. Neutrophil count more than 250 cells per cubic mm is a strong indication of bacterial infection. Whereas lymphocytes, if it is more, it indicates peritoneal tuberculosis or the carcinomatosis or cancer. Then comes the chemical examination, protein estimation. Estimation of serum and ascitic fluid albumin allows calculation of something called as serum ascitic albumin gradient. That allows categorization of ascitic fluid into low and high serum ascitic albumin gradient. Then the microbiological tests like Gram stain, Zn stain and culture can be done. Cytological examination is of course for the detection of malignant cells when the peritoneal cavity is involved by some of the cancers. So this is these are the causes which we differentiate between two types, that is the high albumin gradient causes and low albumin gradient ascites. In high albumin gradient ascitic causes are cirrhosis of liver, congestive cardiac failure, constructive pericarditis, Budd-Chiari syndrome, mast cell liver metastasis. Whereas low albumin gradient we have tuberculosis, peritoneal carcinomatosis, biliary peritonitis, pancreatic ascites, nephrotic syndrome and serositis. So again here there are few causes of ascites and their appearance, type of fluid and cells. Like in ascites, mostly I told exudative, that is a bacterial peritonitis. Inflammation of the peritoneal cavity is the most common cause. In that again we have two types, spontaneous and secondary. In both the conditions the fluid is turbid or cloudy, both are exudates. In both the conditions we see neutrophils, but in spontaneous bacterial peritonitis neutrophils will be more than 250 cells per microliter. In secondary bacterial peritonitis the neutrophil count is high, much more higher than the spontaneous bacterial peritonitis, that is more than thousands. And if you do the special studies, if you do the gram staining or culture, you can see spontaneous bacterial peritonitis will grow only one organism, whereas secondary bacterial peritonitis you can see multiple organisms are isolated on the culture. So it is more dangerous than the above one. Cirrhosis of liver appearance will be clear straw color, and it is a transitive type of fluid. When you use the word transitive, of course it is a chronic, and neutrophils will not be there. Lymphocytes are present in less than 500 cells per microliter, and their albumin gradient will be more than 1.1 grams per deciliter. Then the tuberculous peritonitis appearance will be serosanguinous. Of course it is an inflammation condition, so it is exudates, and the tuberculosis is a chronic disease, so lymphocytes count will be more than 500 per microliter. Zeal and sustain culture, low albumin gradient, total protein of more than 2.5 grams per deciliter. Then if ascitic fluid is due to malignancy, the appearance will be bloody, exudative, lymphocytes and malignant cells are seen. Cytology will further helps in identifying the cause. So next comes the Barr body and its demonstration. Barr body is nothing but this comes under this is a genetic thing. So normally human germ cells, that is ova and sperms, contain 23 chromosomes, haploid or 1N, while all other nucleated somatic cells of the human body contain 23 pair of chromosomes called as diploid or 2N. So in total we have 44 autosomes and 2 sex chromosomes, being XX in female, that is 46XX, and XY in male, that is 46XY. In females, what happens? Out of two, one of the two chromosomes, paternal or maternal derived, whichever it is inactivated during embryogenesis. This inactivation is passed to all the somatic cells, while the germ cells in the female remain unaffected. That is, ovary will always have active X chromosomes. Such an inactive X chromosome in the somatic cells in females lies condensed in the nucleus attached to the nuclear membrane, and it is called as sex chromatin, seen specifically in the somatic cells in only females. Males will not show this sex chromatin because males will have X and Y. There is no inactivated X in males. So nuclear sexing can be done for genetic female testing by preparing and staining the smear of squamous cells which are scraped from the oral cavity, or by identifying the Barr body in the circulating neutrophil as drumstick appendage attached to one of the nuclear lobes. So to do the genetic testing of female, to confirm the sex is female, we can either scrape the buccal mucosa squamous cells and see for the inactivated chromosome, that is sex chromatin, which is seen as a condensed material in the nucleus, and also we can see this condensed nucleus in the neutrophils. Neutrophils usually have 2 to 3 lobes. The one projection, one body is attached to the lobe of the neutrophil in a female, that indicates it is inactivated X chromosome. A minimum of 30 cells will be positive for sex chromatin, is indicative of genetically female composition. If you count 100 cells, 30 should show the sex chromatin or Barr body. So this is a diagrammatic representation. Above you can see a cell, it is a squamous cell. It is a polygonal shape of cell with a central nucleus. In that nucleus you can see a blue dot which is attached to the nuclear membrane. This is called as Barr body. It indicates it is a inactivated X chromosome. Whereas the below picture is of a neutrophil. Neutrophil is a WBC cell, white blood cells, having 2 to 3. Here we can see 4 lobated nucleus. In that nucleus, on the top of the nucleus, one drumstick appearance is visible, one projection is visible, that is called as drumstick, and this drumstick is nothing but it is a inactivated X. If you are counting 100 cells like this, if you are seeing 30 cells having these Barr bodies and drumstick appearance, then the female sex can be confirmed if there is any dilemmas. Thank you so much.